think I found my new favorite spot. It's like a really nice quiet area, kind of secluded. I see a few people, but yeah, I like it. What's up, y'all? I wanted to come on here because I felt randomly inspired as I found a new spot that has like a little river. And it reminded me of something I thought about maybe about a year ago about just following your intuition. And it's something I live my life by. Like every day I think about this in everything I do, in every decision I make. And that's just thinking about life as being a river. That if you flow with the river, life is easy. But if you try to go against the current, life gets harder. And so I see the river as your intuition and the pushback as your mind. Because your intuition is something that's innate, something you know. Some people call it your gut. Some people call it God. Some people call it the universe. It's whatever you interpret it as. It's just that innate knowing that a decision that you come up with is right. And it could be the craziest decision. It can be the craziest thing. It may not make sense to the mind, but it makes sense to that inner knowing. And so for me, I started my spiritual journey officially, like where I really started questioning things about just my belief system and how I go about looking at the world. And so that started about in 2021, so about 4 years ago. And at first, the journey was very hard because basically it was like a rug being pulled under me because I didn't know what to believe in anymore. I was questioning what I was raised to be, what I was told was to be true. And when you're raised on a certain fundamental belief system, that's everything to you in a way. It's what you base your life on. And so it took a few years for me to really find what worked for me. And what I came up with was just growing as a soul, using this life as a way to grow every day. And I think to actually grow as a soul is to constantly change and constantly do work, constantly try to become a better person every day. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. And I think that's what keeps me able to smile every day and kind of just appreciate life more. Because I'm not worried about doing good deeds to get to a certain place after I die. Or I'm not shaming other people for not believing what I believe in. I'm just living life trying to be the best person I can be. And that's helping others where I can. That's facing my ego and understanding that there's so much to this world that we don't know, and it's ignorant to push a value system or a way of thinking on someone, because in reality, what do we each individually know? As you learn more, you realize just how much you don't know. Like, for example, there's only been like, I don't know, 20% of the ocean, probably less of that, that's been explored. Like that's a trip to think about. You don't know what you don't know. Just think about how it was 100 years ago, just 100 years ago, and the knowledge they lack of what we know today. And I'm just thinking, like, people 100 years from now, they're gonna be looking at us and thinking the same thing. Like, you don't know what you don't know. One thing I do believe that every human does know is, or at least, let me rephrase that. One thing I do believe is that your intuition does know. It doesn't know. It doesn't know. It's not going to explain the universe, but it will. It is your guidance system to how to live your life every day, and how to flow with the river and not go against it. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Within the last 4 years, I've grown so much. I'm so different every year. I'm not the same person I was 4 years ago, and I feel like once I started that self journey of facing my ego and understanding that there's so much more, that's when I really started to thrive. And I can honestly say I'm like in my winning season, because I've gone through the trouble, I've gone through the heartache, I've gone through the trouble of everyday life, of heartbreak, of witnessing death. I've gone through all of it, and it's made me a better person. I didn't let it sour me. I didn't let it make me become bitter. And that's very important, because sometimes we let life harden our hearts. And that's why there's so much hate in the world, and that's why there's so much pain. Rather than people transmuting that pain into kindness, they just put out more pain. And I get it. It's hard to transmute pain. It really is. There was a crossroads in my spiritual journey where I wanted to hurt someone because someone hurt me. Like I was through your spiritual journey, you're able to witness yourself in third person, observe yourself in third person. And I realized, like, I wanted to hurt someone else because someone hurt me. And that doesn't really make sense when you think about it, because that person that I wanted to hurt, they didn't do anything. They weren't the one that hurt me. And if I were to return that hate and that hurt to the person that hurt me, I'm just continuing the cycle. I'm justifying what they did. I don't know if that made sense. I'm just rambling at this point, but what I found is that, and when I talk to people, when I go online and I listen to people who do the same type of stuff, like just talking and posting it, it seems like the general consensus is that when you're on your spiritual journey and you follow your intuition, your life becomes so much easier. You're just flowing. And I want to give some advice on how to follow your intuition, because it may come off like I'm just saying something and it sounds so simple, but it is. It's also very hard too. In this world, two things can be true at once. It's hard and easy at the same time. But I would say to get to that point where you're in flow, and where you trust the universe, you trust what you believe in, is just sitting in silence, sitting in meditation, and listening to that voice, and distinguishing that voice from your mind, from your heart. I know that sounds corny, but I promise you, your life will be so much better. Just finding that voice. It's going to be hard, but that's a spiritual journey. You get better at it every day. It's even when you're like walking randomly, like if you have this innate knowing to take a left turn, do it. Don't go against it. Maybe your mind is telling you to walk straight because you want to get home because it's cold. But if your intuition is telling you to turn, maybe there's a restaurant or something where you meet a new friend and you're warm, you're okay, and you enjoy yourself. It's better than walking home. It's just small things like that. Like, intuition is intricate in everything. It's like in every. It can be used for anything, not just big stuff. It's the small stuff. And yeah, I feel like once you get to that point where you have complete trust in your intuition, you'll just be able to flow. Yeah, that's all I had to say. Y'all have a beautiful day.